Good morning, parents, teachers, students, and everyone else who's watching this video. I'm Rebecca, and I would like to share with you something that I've done, which may be a good resource for yourself in learning mathematics. So over the past 2 years, I have actually written 2 books, which may be helpful for you, and it is called Mathematics Buddy, Secondary 1, and Mathematics Buddy Secondary 2. These 2 books are specially written for G1 group of students, and they will actually give a very good overview of the topic of algebra. So let me take some time to share my motivation towards writing these books and how it might be helpful for yourself. First things first, so what made me write these books? Well, it came across that there was one day there was a request by a parent if I could teach her son mathematics, and she shared that her son was then attending normal technical stream. And having no prior knowledge of the normal technical stream, I had to find out more about what this stream was all about and the kind of topics and subjects that was required. So as I was entering the bookstore, I found that there was so limited resources that pertains to this group of students on the shelves. And for a moment, I was really lost. Firstly, lost at how to even source for suitable materials to teach this child. And secondly, the feeling of lost came from the fact that it's not just only for myself, but students, parents, and educators who are trying really hard to do well in this stream. So this was my primary motivation to take some time really to understand what this course entails in terms of the syllabus requirements, and to possibly seek out an opportunity to put one more book onto the shelf, and if possible, another book onto the shelf, and another book onto the shelf, one at a time, so that students from this academic group, they are able to find resources that are helpful for themselves. You might also wonder, of all topics that are being taught or expected to be learned by the student, why algebra? Well, algebra is really something that is very, very close to my heart, because as a student myself in school, I struggled a lot with mathematics. And in terms of understanding, I had to do a lot of guesswork at that point in time. Without much help and feeling a sense of loss, at times I had to turn to peers to help me, to neighbors to help me, and sometimes when all these resources are exhausted, I had to try my best to stumble upon good resources that I could find in the library or in the bookstore that could help me. Resources that are not found aligned with the academic stream that I was in, but perhaps to look for alternative academic streams. Yeah. So that helped me because I could find good resources. Okay, and perhaps why algebra? Coming back to this question again, well, for students who are in the G1 course, most of them would come from the primary school foundation mathematics course. And if they had attempted foundation mathematics in primary 5 and 6, as a learner, they would not have encountered algebra. This makes the introduction of algebra something that is not easy for them to grasp in secondary 1, considering that their peers who have taken standard mathematics in primary 5 and 6 have at least some knowledge of algebra. Regardless of how much algebra content is retained for primary school standard students, there is at least something. compared to foundation students who have had no encounter with algebra at all. This is really uphill for them. And so many students do struggle with this particular topic when they come on to secondary 1. And I felt that there is no better opportunity to start with this topic and to really go deep into the understanding, go deep into the foundation, into the roots, and why, how it all ticks as a topic. Yeah, and I hope that these 2 books will really help your child, your class, be able to understand algebra even deeper. You may also wonder, does this book only benefit G1 students? Well, apart from G1 students taking secondary 1 and secondary 2 respectively, this book also is helpful for another 2 groups of students. Let me address the first group of students. The first group of students that would benefit well from these books would be students who are taking primary 5 and primary 6 standard mathematics and these are the students who have had a good basic understanding of what algebra is. A large proportion of the secondary 1 Maths Buddy book actually covers what had been taught in primary school algebra, except for the portion whereby you deal with number patterns with respect to algebra. Other than that, it is pretty much the same, and this book will really help concretize what they have learned in primary school. So P6 students, after the PSLE, this is one book that if you can master, it will help you tide through whether it's G1, G2 or G3 mathematics for algebra in secondary 1. Now another group of students who will benefit from both books at the same time would be students who are actually who are starting or who have already finished secondary 1 of G2 and G3 mathematics. Okay, because these topics are covered in secondary 1, G2 and G3, except for the topic of factorization. And it is not found here because in the G1 syllabus, factorization is only covered in secondary 3. However, these 2 books with its in-depth notes and exercises will really give yourself a very good understanding and practice of what is expected for algebra secondary 1. Yeah. So I hope that this short introduction will actually allow you to understand better about the motivation of writing these books and how it can help you. Last but not least, how can educators benefit from this book? Well, these books, in fact, when written, are closely tied into the syllabus that has been mapped out by the Ministry of Education. And in following how it is being presented, this will give you a clear idea of how you may want to also consider how to present this teaching to your student, your child, your class. Definitely, if the questions are helpful, this book can be used again and again and again. Well, you do not need to buy many copies of the same book, but what can be done is that for every exercise that has been done, instead of doing it on the book, you might want to consider doing it on a piece of paper. Check through the answers, the in-depth answers, the back of the book, and then you can have a brand new page that is undone to be attempted for the second, third, or even fourth time. So I find that this book is truly a good resource that not only I would like to recommend to you, even I have written this book for myself to use with my students. So I hope that you'll be blessed with these 2 books. See you!